Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what's out there? Maybe you've seen the bright constellations or the even brighter planets like Venus or Jupiter. But have you ever noticed anything unusual? In 2020, scientists were analyzing images taken by NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft back in 1986. They were looking at a planet called Uranus and its mysterious moon called Umbriel. That's when they discovered something strange about this particular moon. It was unusually dark. This dark moon had remained hidden from view for billions of years, but now that we know about it, scientists are eager to find out why it's so dark and what secrets it might be hiding. Scientists believe that Umbriel's darkness may be due to a covering of ancient carbon-rich material. However, no spacecraft has ever visited Umbriel, so it's unclear exactly what it's made of. Some theories suggest that it could be a type of frozen methane, while others propose that it's coated with a layer of soot. Scientists are still trying to determine which theory is correct. But if Umbriel is covered in carbon, where did it come from? One possibility is that it formed from material that never quite turned into a planet. If this is the case, it would explain why it's so small and irregular in shape. Alternatively, it could have picked up its carbon coating from another source. Perhaps it once had a thick atmosphere that was rich in organic molecules. Over time, these molecules could have broken down and formed a layer of carbon on the surface. Or maybe Umbriel was once a water world that had its entire surface frozen over by a sudden climate change. Whatever the explanation, Umbriel's darkness is sure to remain an enigma for many years to come. Umbriel is the darkest moon in the solar system. It's not just black, it's darker than black. In fact, it's so dark that if it wasn't orbiting a bright planet like Uranus, it would be impossible to see, and that's not because it's far away. Umbriel is only about 12,000 kilometers from Earth, which is close enough to be studied in great detail. But despite its proximity, we know almost nothing about it. It's not even clear how big it is. We do know that it is smaller than our moon and that its diameter is less than 120 kilometers. But beyond that, all baits are off. We don't know how tall it is or how wide. We don't know what it looks like or what it's made of. All we know is that it's dark. And that darkness is what's captured the imaginations of scientists and space enthusiasts alike. One of the most intriguing possibilities is that Umbriel is made of carbon. Carbon is the building block of life on Earth. It's also one of the most abundant elements in the universe. And yet we've never before seen it in such a pure form. If Umbriel is indeed covered in carbon, it could tell us more about the origins of life on Earth. But how did this moon get its carbon coating? The leading theory is that it formed from material that never quite coalesced into a planet. This would explain why it's so small and irregular in shape. But it doesn't explain how it got its carbon. Scientists speculate that perhaps the material that made up Umbriel originally contained a lot of organic molecules. These molecules could have broken down over time, leaving behind a layer of carbon. Another possibility is that Umbriel once had a thick atmosphere that was rich in carbon. The molecules in this atmosphere could have reacted with each other to form a solid layer on the surface. Or maybe Umbriel was once a water world. If so, a sudden climate change could have frozen the entire surface, trapping any carbon-based molecules beneath the ice. There's also the possibility that Umbriel's darkness is due to something else entirely. Maybe it's made of a type of frozen methane or a layer of soot. Or maybe it's covered in a mysterious substance that we haven't even dreamed of yet. Whatever the explanation, Umbriel's darkness is sure to remain an enigma for many years to come. No spacecraft has ever visited Umbriel. The only images we have of it were taken by NASA's Voyager 2 spacecraft back in 1986. At the time, Voyager 2 was on its way to Neptune and it made a brief flyby of Uranus and its moons. The images it returned were grainy and low resolution, but they revealed something strange about Umbriel. It was much darker than expected. Scientists were baffled. They knew that Umbriel was probably made of rock or ice, but they couldn't understand why it was so dark. One team of scientists suggested that it was covered in a layer of frozen methane. Methane is a common molecule in space, and it is also a major component of the atmosphere of Saturn's moon Titan. But this theory didn't hold up. If Umbriel was covered in methane, it should have glowed faintly in the ultraviolet spectrum. It didn't. Another team of scientists proposed that Umbriel was coated in soot. Soot is a form of carbon, and it's produced when organic molecules burn. But this theory didn't make sense either. If Umbriel had a layer of soot, it should have absorbed visible light instead of reflecting it. In other words, it should have been even darker than it actually is. To this day, scientists are still trying to figure out what's going on. Of course, there are plenty of other moons in the solar system that are darker than Umbriel. For example, the moon Charon is completely black. This is because it's made of pure carbon, but Charon isn't really a moon. It's actually a dwarf planet that's locked in orbit with Pluto. There are also plenty of asteroids that are darker than Umbriel, but they aren't technically moons either. So if you're looking for the darkest moon in the solar system, your answer is clear: it's Umbriel. As we continue to explore the solar system, it's likely that we'll find other moons that are just as dark, if not darker. But until then, Umbriel remains the undisputed champion of darkness. Who knows what other secrets it might be hiding? Maybe it's covered in ancient organic molecules or even fossils. Maybe it's home to a secret civilization of aliens? Or maybe it's just a barren, lifeless rock. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: we won't know for sure until we get there. And getting there won't be easy. Umbriel is very far away, and it's moving very fast. A spacecraft would need to travel for years at incredible speeds to catch up with it. But if we can overcome these challenges, the rewards will be great. We Lines learn more about the origins of our solar system and possibly even find evidence of life beyond Earth. For now, though, Umbriel remains a mystery. But as technology improves and our understanding of the universe grows, we may one day solve the puzzle of the dark moon. What do you think? What could be causing Umbriel's darkness? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so that I can keep making them. Thanks for watching. See you next time.